Social environments influence almost every aspect of our daily lives, from thoughts to feelings to emotions to behavior. Humans are heavily influenced by our surroundings and the people in these surroundings. Social psychology studies how social norms dictate expected behavior in a variety of contexts, how environmental cues influence behavioral outcomes, and how we assign responsibility. This video will examine the Pilgrim experiment, its negative results, and the concept of obedience to authority. The key elements that discussing these topics highlight are conforming to match a group, the power of leadership positions, and more. Although the particular experiment I research focuses on the negative aspects of conformity, I do think it is important to note that conforming is not always a bad thing, as it provides social and societal norms, rules, and regulations, and sometimes safety. So conforming does benefit our everyday lives. So before we talk about Stanley Milgram and his research, we must first talk about what led to his research. After World War II, the world remained in shock at the discovery of the inhumane, violent, and horrific acts committed in the genocide of millions of men, women, and children. This genocide was the infamous Holocaust, which was led by Hitler's Nazi-led German army to exterminate Jews, minorities, and anyone who was not of Aryan descent. It is hard to imagine and grasp how so many people were starved, tortured, and openly murdered, while thousands of Nazi soldiers and government officials stood by idly. Although there were thousands of soldiers and government officials, Hitler only had a small group of people who led and enjoyed the torture of their captives. This group was titled the SS. The SS oversaw all concentration camps that housed their captives and these concentration camps' successful operations. In the months following World War II, all of the world felt as though someone needed to be held accountable and punished for these unspeakable acts that happened in these concentration camps. This led to the aforementioned SS and anyone else involved with the Nazi Party to go on trial for their actions in front of the whole world. A common thread found was these men's justification for their actions being that they were simply following orders despite the severity of these unethical orders. This thought process interested a lot of people, including scientist Stanley Milgram of Yale University, who decided to conduct some research to further understand obedience to authority in society. In the early 1960s, Stanley Milgram requested male participants from New Haven, Connecticut to be in a study. Participants arrived at Milgram's lab, where they encountered a fellow participant who was also taking part in the experiment. Milgram explained that one participant would play the role of the teacher while the other would be the learner. As the teacher, the men would ask questions and the learners would give answers. The teachers would then evaluate the correctness of the response, and when the answer was correct, the experiment would simply proceed. When the answer was incorrect, the teacher was instructed to remotely administer an electric shock to the learner. Though the pain would increase and the learner would beg and plead for the teacher to stop after each wrong answer, the experimenter would encourage and eventually demand for the teacher to continue because they agreed to completely participate in this experiment. To many scientists' surprise, 2/3 of the participants in the experiment shocked the learners all the way up to the 30th switch, which was 450 volts of electrocution. And their justification was also that they were simply obeying the authoritative figure. Although Milgram's groundbreaking research happened many decades ago, it still rings true today, as although not on such a large or violent scale, I too have witnessed and participated in obedience to authority every day. Some of my not-so-bright moments came from adolescent desires to be a part of a group. There were definitely moments throughout my primary education where myself and others placed a classmate or friend in a leadership role that did not really exist. However, giving them that power gave them the authority, and in an effort to conform and fit in, we became followers. Whether it be to all sit together at lunch or to all hate the same person, we were one. This mindset can be and was very destructive. Situations like these seem to be minor cases of kids being kids, but this behavior is the type of foundation on which Milgram was building his research. Because human society and everything in between is constantly changing, there will always be more to learn about social psychology. As new aspects of life appear, we will always need to know how these things affect us. Therefore, the future of social psychology is one that I believe is sure to experience some longevity. Although it is very beneficial and informative to study our interactions in our surrounding environments, we must use that same research to ensure humanity's progression overall.